because he's a life coach, he want to examine the universal, timeless, personal empowerment, self-help ideas because it's really universal across time and culture, right? But he want to view that through the vehicle of anime. Like he's a huge anime lover and he wants to dissect and synthesize and distill personal development toolkits from some of his favorite anime. I was like, dude, as an anime lover myself, I think there's a lot of space for that. Likewise for you, you view the same thing, right? For him, it's anime, but for you, it's tarot card reading and astrology. But at the end of the day, you want to use those as vehicles to empower yourself and others. Can you tell me more about that? Why is that for you? And what are some of your approaches and what does that all mean?
Yeah, absolutely. One, I'm not into anime, but I think that's so interesting and so fascinating because at the end of the day, as humans, we're storytellers. So we love story. For whatever reason, our consciousness perceives life in a very past, present, future, beginning, middle, end. Our lifetime is a story. When we talk about other people, we're sharing stories. And so when it comes to something like anime, it makes sense because that's like a genre filled with a bunch of different personality types, character-wise, story arcs. And I approach astrology and I approach tarot cards in literally the same exact way. Astrology is an ancient framework for understanding time. And so there are 12 signs of the zodiac. And in tarot, there's like 78 cards, but essentially both are reflections of the hero's journey. The zodiac wheel, it starts with Aries, which is a fire sign. It's the ram. It is the initial spark of inspiration. It's the seed of life. And then we make our way through the 12 signs, and every sign has their own story. And we end with Pisces, which represents like morphing back into the unknown. And so Pisces is represented by the two fish, and it represents like consciousness being an ocean of sorts. And so like it's the point of return. And so, like I said, I fell in love with astrology when I learned that like we are more than one sign, we have a chart. And honestly, like learning that you have a chart, this ties back into what I was saying earlier about the fact that like people want to learn about themselves, people want to hear about themselves. Learning how to read an astrology chart, you can definitely treat it like a reflection or a potential tool to understand your personality more. What I like about astrology is that it's a belief system that leaves room for both destiny and free will. So looking at a birth chart, you can be like, okay, you were born with these strengths, you were born with these weaknesses. At this point in your life, this might happen. And like, this is how to like work with what you have. And so, when I first learned about astrology, all that made me feel so seen. It made me feel special. It made me feel like I had a mission. I had a purpose. Like it made me a lot more aware of myself. I later on found myself in therapy, found myself reading those self-help books. And like, there are definitely other ways to psychoanalyze yourself, and astrology is just one route. And so the crux of like why I believe in this stuff stems from the fact that we exist within two different matrices. We exist as humans within two different worlds. We participate in man-made political, social, economic systems that teach us to perceive reality in a very specific way. And even if you do subscribe to like an organized religion, you're still being taught to perceive reality in a specific way. And actually, like even believing in astrology, like there's certain guidelines. So it's like, this is the way things work. It's a framework. But we also exist as organisms that are just part of an ecosystem. Like at the end of the day, like we're just mammals, we're creatures that are part of this planet, we're part of this cosmos. And so like we do live in a framework that teaches us to see ourselves as separate from nature. And I enjoy things like astrology because it puts you in the mindset of like, nah, like you're connected to everything, you're connected to nature. Like, I think it's fun to believe that the moon has an influence on the way that I feel and vice versa, because it creates a connection to something, again, bigger than